I stood there, staring at him, my heart pounding in my chest so hard it felt like it might break through my ribs. The candlelight from my birthday cake flickered, illuminating his smug face, the face of the man I had loved, trusted, and given my heart to. "Are you serious?" I barely recognized my own voice. It trembled, laced with disbelief, betrayal, and the sting of humiliation. Nathan smirked. He wasn't even trying to be gentle about it. "Oh, come on, don't look at me like that, Alina. You had to know this was coming." The restaurant had gone dead silent. The people who had been laughing and clinking glasses moments ago were now frozen, their eyes darting between us, probably savoring the real-life drama unfolding in front of them. I swallowed the lump in my throat, my fingers curling around the edge of the table. "You're breaking up with me. On my birthday." My voice cracked at the last word. He leaned back in his chair, his expensive suit unruffled, his arrogance oozing from every pore.
"Yeah."
I figured it'd be easier this way. No messy drawn-out goodbyes. "Besides," he continued, his voice full of mock sympathy, "I've upgraded." A cold chill ran through me.
"What?"
Nathan gave a lazy shrug. "I've found someone better, Alina. Someone who actually deserves to be with me. And, oh well, I figured you wouldn't be needing this anymore." He slid something across the table. My breath caught in my throat. It was my house key. My heart stopped. I felt the blood drain from my face. What is this supposed to mean? My voice was barely a whisper. He smirked, taking a sip of his wine like he had all the time in the world. "Oh, I moved my things out yesterday while you were at work. And, well, I had my new girlfriend move in." The words "new girlfriend" hit me like a freight train. The room started spinning. I clenched my fists under the table, trying to steady myself. "You're saying you took my house? The house I bought?" Nathan laughed, shaking his head like I was some pitiful fool. "Alina, come on. You signed the papers, remember? The house is in both our names now. And since I have nowhere else to go, I figured I'd keep it. After all, it wouldn't be fair to just throw me out onto the street, now would it?" I felt sick. I couldn't breathe. The betrayal, the humiliation, the sheer audacity of this man. I wanted to scream. I wanted to reach across the table and slap that smug expression off his face. "Who is she?" I finally forced out. Nathan smirked again, his eyes gleaming with amusement. "You know her. Vanessa." I froze. "Vanessa. My best friend." A slow, cruel realization sank into my bones. My best friend. The one who had been there through everything. The one I had trusted. The one I had confided in about him. She had been playing me this whole time. Nathan lifted his glass, his voice dripping with fake sympathy. "Well, happy birthday, babe. Hope you have a great night." And just like that, he stood up, tossed a few bills on the table, and walked out. I don't remember how I got home that night. All I remember was the way my hands trembled as I gripped the steering wheel, my mind replaying Nathan's words over and over again. "I've upgraded. The house is mine now. You know her. Vanessa." I felt numb.
"No."
Not just numb. Empty. Like every ounce of love and trust one had given had been ripped out of me, leaving nothing but a hollow shell. I stumbled into my apartment, the tiny place I had barely furnished after buying the house for me and Nathan. Now, they were living in it, while I was left with nothing. I collapsed onto the floor, my body shaking. Then, the tears came. Hot. Violent. Gut-wrenching. I sobbed until my body ached, until my voice was raw, until I had nothing left. And then something inside me shifted. Something dark. A fire.
A rage.
A resolve. I wasn't going to stay broken. I wasn't going to be the woman they pitted. I was going to make them regret this. Every single second of it. They wanted war? They just declared it. Nathan's smirk didn't fade. If anything, it widened, as if my pain was amusing to him. "You didn't really think you were enough for me, did you?" he scoffed, crossing his arms over his chest. The room had gone eerily silent. Friends I had known for years exchanged awkward glances, avoiding my gaze. No one stepped in. No one defended me. I swallowed the lump in my throat, my hands clenching into fists at my sides. So, this whole night, all of it was just, what? A setup? A way to humiliate me? My voice shook, but I refused to break down. Not in front of him. Nathan shrugged like it was no big deal. Not exactly. I just thought it'd be funny to do it now. I mean, it's a fitting way to end things, don't you think? What better time to move on than your birthday? He chuckled, turning to his new upgrade. Jessica, a woman I had considered a friend. She was standing right beside him, twirling a strand of her perfectly styled hair, her lips curving into a smirk. It's not personal, she said in a voice dripping with fake sympathy. Nathan and I just clicked in a way you and he never could. Something inside me snapped. The betrayal, the mockery, the sheer cruelty of it all burned through me like acid. I wasn't just being dumped, I was being publicly discarded like yesterday's trash, thrown aside for someone shinier, someone who had probably been sneaking around behind my back for months. I turned, my gaze sweeping the room. The same people who had been celebrating me minutes ago now avoided my eyes, their guilt written all over their faces. No one was going to stand up for me. No one was going to call him out for what he had done. A bitter laugh bubbled up inside me, but I swallowed it down. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing me crumble. Instead, I squared my shoulders and met Nathan's gaze head-on. You know what, Nathan? My voice came out eerily calm, steadier than I felt inside. You're right. This is the perfect time for change. But you're the one who's made a mistake. Because one day, you'll realize you threw away something irreplaceable for something cheap and temporary. Nathan chuckled. Yeah. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Jessica giggled, hooking her arm around his. I took a deep breath, forcing a slow smile onto my lips. Enjoy your upgrade while it lasts, Nathan. Something tells me your better option won't seem so perfect once the novelty wears off. His smirk faltered for just a fraction of a second. I turned on my heel, grabbed my bag, and walked out of my own birthday party, out of his life, without another word. But as I stepped into the cold night air, one thought burned in my mind. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The drive home was a blur. My fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles ached, my mind racing in a million different directions. Nathan had humiliated me. He had planned it. And Jessica had played along like it was some twisted joke. I pulled into my apartment complex and killed the engine, staring blankly at the dashboard. My reflection in the rearview mirror looked back at me, eyes red, lips pressed into a thin line, hurt and anger swirling in the depths.
No.
I refused to cry. Crying was what Nathan expected. He wanted me to be broken, to wallow in misery while he moved on without a second thought. But I wouldn't be that woman. I climbed out of the car, my heels clicking against the pavement, my mind already shifting gears. If Nathan thought he could walk all over me and get away with it, he was dead wrong. This wasn't just about a breakup. This was war. The next morning, I woke up with a new fire inside me. No more feeling sorry for myself. No more allowing myself to be treated like an afterthought. First things first, I needed a complete transformation. Nathan had left me because he thought I wasn't enough. That was his mistake. He had no idea what he had just unleashed. I grabbed my phone and started making calls. A new wardrobe. A new haircut. A new me. It wasn't about impressing him. It was about becoming the woman I was always meant to be, strong, confident, untouchable. And when Nathan saw what he had thrown away, it would be too late. The morning after my public humiliation, I stared at myself in the mirror. My eyes were puffy, my skin pale from a sleepless night, but something inside me had shifted. I refused to be the broken girl Nathan expected. I picked up my phone and dialed the first number on my list. Hey, Maya. I need a favor. Maya, my best friend since college, was a no-nonsense powerhouse. The moment I told her what happened, she didn't gasp or pity me. She got mad. Oh, that son of a... She inhaled sharply. All right, we're fixing this. First, you need a glow-up, not for him, for you. And then, we bury him. I smirked. That was exactly what I wanted to hear. Step 1. Get rid of everything connected to Nathan. I went through my apartment, tossing every picture, every gift, every reminder of him into a black trash bag. The necklace he gave me on our anniversary? In the trash. The sweatshirt he accidentally left at my place? Burned. By the time I was done, my apartment felt lighter, like I had exorcised a demon. Then I blocked him. Everywhere. If he thought he could come crawling back when Jessica got bored of him, he had another thing coming. Maya dragged me to the salon. Cut it. All of it, I told the stylist. She hesitated. Are you sure? I met her eyes in the mirror. Do it. An hour later, the woman staring back at me had sharp, elegant layers and an undeniable glow. I loved it. Maya grinned. Now, let's get you some killer outfits. By the end of the day, I had an entirely new wardrobe, sleek, confident, and powerful. Nathan had left me for someone he thought was better. Now, I was becoming someone he wouldn't even be able to touch. With my new look, I walked into work like a damn queen. I could feel the stares, colleagues whispering, even my boss raising an eyebrow. I had always been competent, but now I was unstoppable. I crushed my meetings, nailed every deadline, and refused to let anyone doubt me. Then, the real fun began. Nathan had always belittled my career, saying I wasn't ambitious enough. So, I set my sights on a promotion that would put me miles ahead of where he ever imagined I could be. I wasn't just moving on, I was rising. A week passed before the first crack in Nathan's smug little world appeared. I was at a networking event when I saw him. His face changed the second he spotted me, eyes widening, lips parting slightly. Jessica, clinging to his arm, noticed his reaction. What are you staring at? She snapped. I smiled at her. Oh, just an old mistake I don't miss. Nathan's jaw tightened. He tried to act like he wasn't fazed, but I saw it. The regret. The realization. And that was just the beginning. One night, I got a text from an unknown number. You were right about Jessica. It was Nathan. I laughed. So, the upgrade wasn't so shiny anymore? I didn't reply. Turns out, Jessica had been using him. She had moved in, maxed out his credit cards, and was already seeing someone else behind his back. Nathan was losing everything. A few days later, Nathan showed up outside my office. I made a mistake, he said, his voice desperate. I shouldn't have left you. I tilted my head, pretending to think. Oh, Nathan, you're so right. I leaned in, as if I had a secret. Too bad, I don't care. And I walked away. Word spread fast. Jessica had dumped Nathan for someone richer. Meanwhile, I had just gotten the promotion he always said I'd never get. Nathan wasn't just falling. He was crumbling. I hosted a charity gala. Something important people attended. Nathan showed up looking miserable. I made sure he saw me laughing, successful, and surrounded by people who respected me. He came up to me. Ally, please. I turned, smiling politely. I'm sorry, do I know you? And then I walked away. Nathan was destroyed. Jessica had left him. His finances were a mess. His reputation was in tatters. He had lost everything. And yet, I didn't feel the satisfaction I thought I would. For so long, I had focused on proving a point, showing him what he had thrown away, making him regret ever betraying me. But now that I stood at the top looking down at him, I realized something important. Winning against him wasn't enough. Because my life wasn't about him anymore. I had changed, transformed into someone stronger, wiser, and more powerful than I had ever imagined. But was I truly happy? Was I living for myself? Or had I just spent all this time trying to prove my worth to someone who never deserved me in the first place? That question lingered in my mind like a shadow. And I needed an answer. I had gained so much: confidence, success, self-respect. But I knew deep down that true victory wasn't just about proving Nathan wrong. It was about building something meaningful for myself. So I decided to do something that scared me. I reached out to a women's mentorship program. I share my story, not the revenge part, but the part about losing myself in a toxic relationship, the struggle to rebuild, and the strength it took to rise again. I was shocked by how many women connected with me. You have no idea how much I needed to hear this, one woman told me. I thought I was alone. That moment changed everything. For the first time, I wasn't just moving forward, I was helping others do the same. And that was real power. I wasn't looking for love. But life has a funny way of surprising you when you least expect it. I met Daniel at a charity gala I had helped organize. He was tall, confident, and had the kind of presence that turned heads, but what struck me most was his genuine kindness. "You're the woman who put Nathan in his place," he said with a teasing smile as we clinked glasses. I laughed. "That's not exactly my legacy." "No," he agreed, "but I think your real legacy is what you're doing now, helping people." That caught me off guard. For the first time, a man wasn't focused on my appearance or my revenge story. He saw me. And I liked that. Daniel and I started seeing each other, but unlike my relationship with Nathan, this wasn't built on competition, insecurity, or control. It was built on mutual respect. He admired my ambition, encouraged my dreams, never once made me feel like I had to shrink myself to make him comfortable. And that was when it truly hit me. This was what love was supposed to feel like. Not a battle, not a performance, just peace. Nathan had been a lesson. Daniel was my future. Months later, I ran into Nathan again. He looked different, tired, worn out. A shadow of the man he used to be. He approached me hesitantly. "Can we talk?" I didn't owe him anything, but something in me wanted closure. So, we sat. "I was a fool," he admitted. "You were the best thing in my life, and I was too arrogant to see it." I sipped my coffee, unaffected. "I know." He let out a bitter chuckle. "You don't hate me?" I tilted my head, considering.
No.
"I don't. Because hating you would mean I still care." His face fell. "So, there's no chance?" I smiled. A real, genuine smile. "Not in this lifetime." And with that, I walked away. This time for good. With Nathan in the past, I focused on the future. My work with the mentorship program grew. I launched my own women's empowerment initiative, teaching women how to rebuild after heartbreak. I realized that letting go wasn't weakness, it was strength. Nathan no longer haunted me. He was just a memory, a stepping stone to something greater. I was now thriving. My career flourished. My program expanded. I was independent, powerful, and unstoppable. And the best part? I did it all without needing revenge to define me. Daniel became my rock. He didn't complete me because I was already whole, but he made my life even better. I finally understood. Revenge wasn't the answer. Success, happiness, self-love, those were the real victories. And I had won. Years later, I saw Nathan one final time. He looked lost. I felt no anger, no regret. Just gratitude, because without him, I wouldn't be who I am today. I stood on the stage at a conference, speaking to hundreds of women. "This is your life," I told them. "Don't waste it proving yourself to the wrong people. Rise, build, and create the life you deserve." The applause was deafening. The girl who was humiliated on her birthday? She didn't exist anymore. I had rebuilt myself from the ashes. And this time, no one would ever take me down. Nathan sent me an email once. "I see what you've become. I regret everything." I never replied, because I had already moved on. I wasn't the woman Nathan left behind. I was the woman he could never have. And that was the best revenge of all.